What up, everybody, and welcome back to another episode of the Film Bros podcast. I'm your host, JP. This is my co host, Josh.
Hey, everyone.
And we're here to give you guys our review. We're dipping into the Star Wars side of things now. We're going to be reviewing our own personal choices of the 4 live action Star Wars shows that came out on Disney Plus as of recently, between the years of 2019 and 2022. But before I jump into the video, can you go ahead and let everybody know where they can, hit us up at, search us up, look us up?
At FilmBros Podcast on Spotify and Apple Podcasts, and on YouTube at FilmBros Podcast. And if you want to follow us for updates on like when we post videos and stuff, or just follow us in general to see how certain clips of our videos and things like that, you can follow us on TikTok as well at FilmBros Podcast.
Yes, sir. Yeah, if you guys are watching this on YouTube or wherever you guys are listening, make sure you go and like, subscribe, follow, and share. With that, let's start jumping into it. I'm going to first go and start off by letting you guys know what 4 shows we're talking about. If you guys haven't seen them, I'm just going to list them off so you guys know, and go ahead and go watch and then come back, because there will be some spoilers throughout this video. So yeah, pause it, save it, go, come back.
Exactly.
With that, let's jump right in. So first things first, we got the OG, the one that started all the Disney Plus shows. Okay, The Mandalorian has Pedro Pascal, Gina Carano, Carl Weathers in there, Giancarlo Esposito. Sorry, his name is spelled crazy, but they're all in there. Top cast. Started in 2019. Got 2 seasons. A third one coming out this March, I believe, the first. Yeah. So as of now, both seasons got 93% on Rotten Tomato with 92% of an audience score. So pretty good, pretty solid. It was a good solid opening for Disney Plus shows. That show led off. Oh, actually, that show has about 8 episodes per season for those 2 seasons. That show led off to the spinoff called The Book of Boba Fett. That show got 7 episodes. That one was released back in 2021. Has 1 season. Have not heard of a second season or if it's canceled yet, so it's still up in the air. Could be more seasons, who knows. Got a Rotten Tomato score of 66% and an audience score of 55%. So this one, kind of rough with the critics, kind of rough with the fans.
Yeah.
But pretty still a solid lineup within the Star Wars community. Some people hated it, some people liked it. You're gonna find out which side we're on today.
Yeah.
That leads us to our next one, which was Obi-Wan Kenobi. That one came out in 2022. Rotten Tomato score of 82%, audience score of 63%. It has 1 season. They said it was limited series. It has only 6 episodes, but there's always room for more seasons. They haven't completely ruled out a second season, so we'll see what happens with that one.
Yeah.
And then it leads us to our very last one, which is Andor. It has the biggest amount of episodes. It had 12 for this season. Rotten Tomato score of 96%, audience score of 85%. Has 1 season. We know season 2 is on the way and a potential season 3. So, yeah, that's basically all the live action shows. Pretty solid, but staggered throughout, between audiences and critics. And, when these shows were coming out, a lot of people voiced their opinions. The Star Wars fandom is very vocal, very, very vocal about what they like and don't like. So we're gonna go ahead and dive right into our favorites. We'll go from our least favorite to our number one. So only 4 options here. Obviously, we might get a couple correct, and on the same one, we might agree. If we don't agree, we'll have the topic. We'll have the discussion, figure out, and try to pull apart this toxic fandom.
Toxic fandom is the best way to put it.
Yeah. One thing I did not mention is the actors in certain projects. The Book of Boba Fett has Tamara Morrison and Ming-Na Wen. Obi-Wan Kenobi had Ewan McGregor coming back, Hayden Christensen coming back, and Andor had Diego Luna come back, and just a few other new names that were attached to that project. So we had a lot of big name casts within these series, and a lot of returners.
Mm-hmm.
So a lot of these shows may have some nostalgia factor put into them. All these things. So
Yeah.
that's a lot of reasons why the fandom is divided because of the way they handle certain characters that are legacy characters. So let's try to dissect and get into this already. I want to hear your first up.
Oh well.
And
Fourth one.
Yeah, it's number 4. Number 4 slot.
My fourth slot is the Book of Boba Fett.
The Book of Boba Fett.
Yeah. This one was. This only had what, 6 episodes?
6 episodes.
Yeah.
No. This one had 7.
7? Oh,
Just
okay.
one underneath the Mandalorian.
Okay.
Regular.
I don't know. This one was. It had its cool moments, but a lot of it felt like unnecessary filler for Mandalorian. I think. Like, I hate to see that they sacrifice Boba Fett's character and stuff to kind of boost Mando. Like that. I say 6 episodes because it threw me off that they dedicated 2 episodes to Mandalorian. You know what I mean?
That's true. Yeah.
Like, and it was cool seeing Luke and all that, but like, again, not in a Boba Fett show.
Yeah.
It would have been better if it was just him and his uprise in the gangster world or underground world of Star Wars.
Mm-hmm.
I like that he took Boba's that he took what's his name, the Hutt. Jabba's
spot.
He took his spot. He's trying to rule Tatooine and stuff, which is really, really cool. Actually, like I don't know why they decided to go and kind of fuck it all up with adding Mando. Like, I know they added Mando so they can continue his story, but it shouldn't have been done here. And then seeing Luke also is kind of weird. And this is where we saw Ahsoka, right?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. See, so
no. We did see Ahsoka. Yeah.
So like, it was all weird that they kind of shoved that all into this show that's supposed to be about Boba Fett. I think that's why I'm giving it its slot at last place. It could be better. I hope it gets season 2 and he does get to shine, because he did have cool moments. Like riding the Rancor was cool, but it's not enough to save it from like plot and stuff.
Yeah, I mean, honestly, I don't have any disagreements. My number 4 slot has to be the Book of Boba Fett too. It did have a good premise. When at the end of season, I believe it was season 2 of The Mandalorian, they had a post-credit scene that teased Boba Fett to, that he was going to take over Jabba's spot. They showed him as a badass in The Mandalorian, okay? Mm-hmm. He was this hardcore badass. Everybody was hyped for this show. I as well, because when I seen him in The Mandalorian kicking ass, like, I thought it was going to be great. We had that post-credit scene setting up. He was taking over Jabba's position. He had the struggles within the show to do that, and they gave him these tasks. I did like the little flashbacks that happened that showed how he survived the whole Sarlacc pit and everything. They started off strong, but then it did go into that category where it just started ended up being filler, too much filler, and then to the point where it went filler, and then it went to Mando episodes. Like we didn't see Tamara Morrison nor Ming-Na Wen in their own show. Mm-hmm. So how to me how they said that this was the Boba Fett show, it is ridiculous. They should have said Boba Fett featuring Mandalorian, or Mandalorian featuring Boba Fett, because I feel like the people that had the most character development was Mando and Grogu.
Just so they could set up their third season.
Exactly. Everything else was pretty good. The bikers in the show kind of threw me off. The CGI was pretty good with this show. I know they use the same technology as they did with The Mandalorian. I I love the scenes when Boba and Mando were fighting in the last episode, but even then, like I said, when Mando came on screen, it just seemed like he just stole the show. Like it was just
Yeah.
his show again. When he was saving Grogu from the Rancor and everything, I could care less about Boba Fett. So I kind of feel like they really overshadowed his character and
Yeah.
his arc and his growth. They stunned it really bad just so they can, how you said, boost up Mando.
Yeah.
So that's why I kind of feel I put it down at the last. It's just too many problems, not enough payoff to put it any higher.
Yeah.
Correct.
Yeah.
So we're kind of on the same page. You kind of agree with
Yeah.
me. You agree with me?
Yeah. And like this show could have easily been, third or maybe second if it focused on that whole underground element and it didn't involve the bikers and it took out Mando and shit. Like Cad Bane, having Cad Bane show up and Chrysanthemum would have been dope in their own way. Like I like that he showed up and was like being paid off by the enemy and shit to like solve this problem of Boba Fett rising in the ranks and shit. But like they took it in a weird way and then he dies,
And see, and that's another thing too. I feel like that payoff would have been better if we would have seen that episode in the Clone Wars to set that up.
Yeah.
Because I know that in the Bad Batch, the cartoon episodes, we're gonna go pretty deep into the Star Wars thing. So
lore. It's all lore.
You need if you guys haven't seen these shows, we suggest you go watch them. It's pretty good. In the Bad Batch, he was missing the helmet piece. In the show, he was also missing the same piece.
Yeah.
So it shows that they've had that interaction before, but to not see it or confirm it and then go to this scene, it for a lot of people that didn't even watch the Clone Wars show, he was just a character you guys threw in there and killed them off really fast, regardless. And even to the people that know the show, it felt like it was a character you guys just threw in just to kill him off fast.
Yeah.
And it just didn't pay off. So I'm pretty sure the fans that love to see him on screen loved seeing him on screen, because I know I did.
Yeah.
They actually, in my opinion, did a really good job with his live action look. It's just the payoff wasn't there because there was no build up and they just kind of threw him in there. Now, if he was the antagonist the entire season,
it would have made sense.
Yeah, if he was the problem the whole season, he is the problem why he cannot get the throne. It would have made a completely different story. It would have been completely different, and I feel like this show would have been 100%, 110% better.
Yeah, like this show could have been easily just better if it focused on that element of like he's trying to run things his way. It isn't gonna fly, so like they bring in bounty hunters to pretty much stop him. Like I said, I like seeing Chrysanthemum and Cad Bane. It just felt like things happened a little too quickly where he died and then Chrysanthemum was just on Boba Fett's side at that point.
Yeah, and there was way too many characters from The Mandalorian in this show too.
Yeah,
it seemed like they didn't even want to build their own characters, and their own original characters that were in there were criticized because there were a bunch of bikers riding colorful bikes through Tatooine that we've never seen before in any other piece of Star Wars media.
Yeah, no, it was weird.
I'm not saying it's the worst thing to happen in Star Wars, but it's pretty bizarre.
It was just random.
Yeah,
I don't think there's anything like too bad with it. It was just random. Like we've never heard of this group before, and for them to just all of a sudden be living on Tatooine, it's a little funky.
Yeah. So I mean, it was kind of a little weird, but I mean, I guess we can understand why they did it. They wanted to, like I said, if they wanted to give us another season of Mandalorian or be like, hey, look, this is a Mandalorian epilogue,
Yeah,
Boba Fett. You know what I mean? Like they could have named it something else. Don't call it the Boba Fett show and then give it to somebody else. But yeah, with that, let's move on to the next number down. What's your number 3 pick?
3. Okay, this one was tough because they could be interchangeable, but for sake of the listing, I'm gonna make it number 3. I'm gonna give it to Mandalorian.
Wow.
Yeah.
Wow. Okay.
I like this show. No bad things about it. Not too many bad things about it. I do enjoy Pedro Pascal. I like Grogu, Baby Yoda, whatever you want to call him. I like their little son and dad duo. I don't know. This show feels like you can watch it and then you'll get quite a bit filler. You know what I mean? So that kind of ruins it for me. And I know the payoff is good sometimes, like Bill Burr's character coming back in the second season, right?
Yeah.
So I mean, it sets up to pay off, but it's still weird that there's quite a bit of filler episodes, and then tying into the Book of Boba Fett. I didn't enjoy that at the end of the second season. They give him up, and then all of a sudden, he's back with him. You know, so I feel like there just wasn't enough time to be like, hey, let me live away from him. Like if they would have set up season 3, because I know season 3 they're going into Mandalore lore.
Yeah.
It would have been fine for him to go through that alone, and then him reunite with Grogu. You know.
Yeah.
But they didn't give you that time to be like, okay, now he has to live on his own. He was just immediately like, nah, I want him back. And then Luke gave him the choice to be like, you can go with him, and he went with him. So I don't know. Not too bad things here. I feel like it got slot 3 because I think number 2 is a little better.
See, and I don't know if I can agree with that whole it's filler. I don't feel like The Mandalorian had a lot of filler in there. Can't agree with that.
I think so. Like there was just episodes that I thought were unnecessary. Like the one with in season 2 where he's taking that lady across the place to deliver those eggs or whatever.
Okay. Let me ask you this: what is too much filler to you? How many episodes is too much filler? Because there has to be like, out of maybe 8 episodes, I think if 2 episodes are filler, it would make sense.
If it isn't progressing the story, it's filler.
Yeah.
So think about it like this: how many episodes did the Bad Batch have?
The Bad Batch?
It had, I want to say like 12 episodes. Hold on. We're getting those numbers. Give us a second.
It had.
Damn.
What? Sorry, guys. Technical.
Hold on. Technical difficulties.
16.
Okay, 16, and I can tell you only a couple of them
made sense.
Like filled in the plot.
Mm-hmm.
So, I think for a show like Mandalorian that had like 8 in each season,
mm-hmm.
I think I can tell you probably a good 4 of each of those episodes were filler before filling it up with plot. But I can't remember it too well. But I know it did have a lot of filler.
Mm-hmm.
So I think it just sacrifices from things like that where I'm like, it shouldn't have, been like that to me. And then seeing a lot of it was cool. Like Giancarlo's character, Moff Gideon, he's cool. But that's why it fought with the second slot. So number 3.
Yeah, man, I don't know. I would say maybe, I think out of the 8 episodes of The Mandalorian, I feel like 2 were probably filler, and I think 2 were probably filler. I think the rest of them did progress the story, but yeah, you're right. Even if a show needs to even think about putting filler in, then maybe you shouldn't go that high with the numbers. You know what I mean? Unless it's trying to put you on a path that it needs to put you on to continue the story, but because there could be filler that leads you on the path and it's still they'll take you to the next planet that needs to go on to the next thing.
Yeah,
but I guess you're right, they just felt like a couple simple plots that didn't need to happen. I know in the first season him trying to drop off the kid at every single place that he could, and then we already knew he was going to keep him at the end of the season, so yeah, I can kind of see where you're coming from, but I think you're right. I think we're probably on the same page on what shows are fighting hand in hand to get that second place. But to be honest, my third, I had to give it to Obi-Wan Kenobi. I kind of feel like it hurt more itself as a show. And Obi-Wan Kenobi only had 6 episodes. It was limited series. They were supposed to be an hour long, they said, but they didn't say an hour long including credits. Okay, so every episode was probably like maybe 45 minutes.
Yeah.
Some of them were dropped. I think 2 of them were dropped to 38 minutes or something. So it didn't get what we needed. It gave. I feel like that show gave a lot of filler, way more filler than anything. There were so many times where he could have been caught. Obi-Wan could have been caught, but for the sake of the story, they were like, no, we're not gonna do that. And it, as much as I loved Obi-Wan coming back and Hayden Christensen, I don't think they use Hayden Christensen as much as they should have in that show. And they really marketed him as him coming back and, being as Darth Vader. And yeah, he did give a good performance as Darth Vader from what, we've noticed. You've seen a few parallels from Revenge of the Sith that he copied and pasted onto Darth Vader, and which kind of gave you that sense of connectivity, which was great. But for them to just, de-age him, put him in one episode instead of, having Obi-Wan. It feels like they were going off the Mandalorian template with the whole keeping track of the little girl and, how he keeps track of Grogu. And I feel like that's what they wanted again. And because people were like, or somebody said, hey, didn't we just do that with season 1 and 2 over here? They were probably like, no. He's taking care of Leia. And, I liked how, they kind of set up so, like, in A New Hope, they made that connectivity where, why did she go to Obi-Wan in the first place? And it kind of gives you the reason why. But they could have dropped her off in episode 2 or 3, and that could have been good enough for us, and maybe gave a little epilogue at the end of the season, like, oh, yeah, they're still good, and he came to visit and make sure she's fine, but because he had to drop her off in a hasty rush or something, you know what I mean? But no, they just kept dragging it along, added filler, and filler in a six episode limited series really doesn't make sense. I felt like at one there was one scene, and I know, and this one's probably questionable for everybody. Actually, there was a few scenes in the show, but the Darth Vader and Obi-Wan climax, the first one when they first meet, and he was weak, and he was getting beat. That all made sense to me, but once a piece of fire lit up in between them, and he couldn't reach him anymore, and everything, like it was kind of weird for me. But like I said, that's what they had to do to keep the plot going forward, and that was a big issue for me. And then even in that one scene when they were leaving the hangar and he had the little girl under the trench coat, that was a big WTF moment as well. So there was a few things in that show that really knocked it down, and even though it was nostalgia and legacy, and there was a lot of good elements within it, I just feel like it wasn't executed right, and that's why I got to give this one the number 3 slot.
I don't know. I don't agree.
What do you refute?
Okay, well, I can give you the filler, and I can give you the Leia thing, but I don't know. This, for what this show was, and like for how short it was, I think we got a lot of good out of it. Like, we got the Inquisitors, and we got to see Hayden Christensen's Vader, and we got to see Obi-Wan come back. The way the story went, I think it just was a lot better, well executed. Even if you include filler, I'm trying to think.
Well, one thing I gotta say is that the Inquisitors, the one that shows up in Rebels, the main one,
Grand Inquisitor,
the Grand Inquisitor. It made zero sense to me why they killed him off in this show, because we knew he was not gonna be dead, and it kind of felt like, yeah, we're just wasting time for the next page, and for him to come up when Reva's down and just be like, aha, I'm still alive. I was like, It's like, bro, we knew you were, but why'd you make a dramatic entrance like this, man?
It was a lot. I think that has to show a lot of like the Sith, will just backstab each other, just to get up there and be promoted and stuff. Especially the way Vader played on it. He was like, bring me Kenobi and you'll be promoted and stuff. And then she went a step further, killed him, made it look like it was Obi-Wan, and then he's like, oh no, you fucking traitor, so like it made sense. And then I liked Reva as a character. Like, I know probably most people didn't, but I liked the character. I like how she tied into Order 66 and her own hatred for Vader.
I liked Reva's character too. I just feel like her redemption arc ruined it for everybody, or at least ruined it for me. I think if they would have kept her evil all the way through and through, and Vader would have murdered her to show that brute strength, I feel like that would have made more of a point than her surviving and then being like, "Hey, I found the light again." I it would have made a more compelling story if it showed that she struggled with this whole time. She's been waiting for the revenge. Oh, she finally chases Obi-Wan into a corner, has Darth Vader on the ropes right here, ready to, take him on. Um, if she would have like third partied the fight between, Obi-Wan or Darth Vader and she wound up biting the dust for it, like it would have been more compelling in my opinion than her having that redemption arc and coming back and having that for them in the last episode for me to make Luke run away from who he was being chased from, not to look back, not to to get knocked out and not ever see anybody with a lightsaber. That's kind of far-fetched for me, and they should have just kept her away from him as much as possible. You know what I mean? Just, I mean, he went off planet for a reason. Yeah, Riva knew what she was there for, but I just feel like they complicated things way too much for themselves, and they could have paid off this show a little bit better if they would have went a different route.
I don't know, cause I mean, I like that she saw Luke and was like, she basically saw herself turning in like, in the sense of what she experienced. Seeing Anakin with the saber coming toward her and shit like that. It was a little like, poetic, seeing how she was like about to murder him, and be like, oh no, I gotta be better, because she kind of went through that. I enjoyed that. I think what really carries this for me, if I'm being for real, is just the conflict between Obi-Wan and Vader.
Yeah, I think that's what really carried the show for me as well. And that's the thing that sucked for me too, is that it just didn't have enough. It would have really carried the show more if they would have added more scenes, them interacting, or them having that struggle within each other. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
Like if would have, because like I said, they marketed like it was supposed to be the both of them, right? Like they really was putting Hayden Christensen on things, and Darth Vader and stuff like that, and they said it was going to be a rematch of the century. Why not build up to that rematch? Not him doing a bunch of different tasks and then be like, oh, he had a little rematch because they had to meet up with each other, do a bunch of little bit of tasks, and then boom, another fight. You know what I mean? If it would have been surrounding just their conflict with each other, that unresolved issue, and then left with that beautiful moment that they did at the end of the series, that would have made a harder show. That it would have hit a lot harder. You would have felt it a lot harder. But because you're worried more about how Leia was able to outrun a bunch of crooks in the woods when she was getting kidnapped, like she was dipping and dodging, and these guys were just bumping into trees. And oh, goofy, I couldn't catch this girl. You know what I mean? It was just stuff like that that really hurt the show, in my opinion.
Anyway, Kenobi's my second slot. Kenobi's my second slot.
Yeah.
The way I pretty much just explained all of it. I really like Reva's character. I like seeing the Grand Inquisitors. Vader, Hayden Christensen as Vader. His performance was really great. Seeing Kenobi come back and being like, as a hermit, and then the reluctant hero, and he's just like, well, I gotta do it.
Hermit.
Gotta do what you gotta do, and then the big final piece, really just the piece de resistance on top, cherry on top. I really like this show. Like I don't know, even with filler included. I guess you can skip those 2 episodes and go right to the ending, but I don't know. It doesn't really do anything if you take them in or out, because either way Leia gets home, and it is what it is.
See, but doesn't that make for a bad show if you could take 2 episodes out and just be like, yeah, it still has the same outcome?
Well, not really. I mean, okay, I say you could take them out because it is kind of filler, but if you take them out, you miss out on the whole Reva's story, and
that's true.
And the little flashback with Anakin and Anakin, and I always call him Ben, but Obi-Wan,
Yeah.
like you miss out on those little details where he's schooling him, again, like he's always been, you know.
Yeah.
So like I say you can take him out, but you shouldn't, you know.
Yeah. Yeah, but with my number two, it has to be The Mandalorian. Um, it's I just feel like for the birth of the show was really good. You know, giving us a different look and going deeper into the Mandalorian lore, which a lot of people weren't familiar with before. Which you know is good that it's finally having this live action shot. I like how there's always cameos in the show. Always somebody surprising is always up there, like Andy Serkis being a stormtrooper and messing around. As what's the name? Moff Gideon is a menace in that show. He's great. Um, who else? Grogu. As much as I don't really like that whole you know, oh, I'm a daddy to this kid, so I got to protect this kid and also, you know, do what I got to do and be a badass. I really don't like that trope a lot, but you know, they made it work for the show and it made me enjoy it a lot more. The first season when he was on that on an Ewok cruiser,
Yeah.
and you know, fighting all those Ewoks and trying to just get his things back, like that really is what cemented the show for me. Seeing Grogu being able to pick up that monster helped cement the show for me. The season one ending with the TIE fighters and you know Moff Gideon cornering them and you know showing Pedro's face. Season two bringing Boba Fett back, having those sick action scenes with Boba Fett and Ming Na Wen as well. And them kind of piecing it together from the first season to the second season and being able to lead that off to a spinoff. That's why I had to give it the second slot. Mandalorian did so much with just a little bit that they had and really expanded the Star Wars universe in its own little pocket and just honestly just paved the way for a lot. And you know, it did so well that it seeped into one of its spin-offs that you know it was birthing and you know and gave us a little butchered monster. But hey, it's a good little butcher monster baby, okay. What do you think?
Well, like I said, for my reasoning, I mean I just like I liked all those things too, but I there's a lot of failure, and like I said, I don't enjoy that he got Grogu back so quickly. And some of that trope too, like of the whole, I'm gonna defend this baby, you know, because no one else can, you know. It can be kind of annoying, which again, it does lead to the whole, that I know I gave him away, but I'm glad he's back, and now we can go on our adventures again, because you know. But I don't know. I mean, like I said, that's why I was saying like it could fight with Obi-Wan, and you know, it could change here and there depending on how I feel, but. I think it's just gonna stay at 3 until maybe season 3 comes out. So we'll see.
You want to know what made me put it at second place? What kind of put it to the top? What put it to the top for me was season 2, the final episode. Luke Skywalker coming in, cutting down all those robots.
The most controversial scene.
Yeah, I know the CGI was a little wonky with it and everything, and I understood that. And you know, people want to nitpick his outfit, like why was he wearing it all black? It should have showed the little gray, whatever. Shut up. It's not about that. Luke Skywalker came back. He was whooping fucking droid ass. Okay, who would have thought we would have seen Luke Skywalker kicking droid ass in 2020? What was it? 2021 when that one came out. And you know, yes, the CGI face was kind of weird, but I mean, they did what they could. They made it work. They improved on it in season 2 like a lot. Mark Hamill gave his blessing. He recreated the scene just so they can, you know, see the movements and they can reenact it the way that he would feel. You know, I just like that they keep him as an advisor because they're like, you know how Luke Skywalker would act. We need you to tell us. You know, same thing with season 2. They you know brought him back and he redid the scene so they couldn't copy him, but. Honestly, season 2, Mandalorian, the final episode with Luke Skywalker coming back, that was the one that had to throw it over the top for me. And that one was going hand in hand with Obi-Wan's final episode with, you know, it just this one had to take the cake because it had a stronger backing, and Obi-Wan just, if like I said, if they would have just made it all about what happened in that last episode and just build it up to that, had Reva put in the mix of all that, and eventually sort shit out at the end, and have that beautiful payoff, it would have taken the cake. But because of that, I just had to give it to Mandalorian. And I'm happy that we can kind of go hand in hand and kind of think about that. They're really so close together. If they would just change a little bit over here, or just change a little bit over here, it would have been interchangeable. But yeah, but it's really good. But that's gonna lead us to our last one. Okay, and obviously it's the last one, so we're gonna have to just say it together. It's Andor. It's Andor.
Yep.
Andor is the number one Star Wars show. I'm happy we're on the same page with that one, because if we weren't, this be a different episode, okay?
Man, no, this one is just so good. I can't begin to explain it. Like, it's crazy that it trumps the way it does. Because it feels so simple, but also really complex when you dig into it.
It's so complex that it took more episodes to tell. All 12 episodes didn't even have filler at all whatsoever. Exactly. There was not one filler episode in the season, okay? Every single episode that happened drove the plot forward, moved pieces in certain directions that led to the payoff at the finale, which is, is going to lead to the second season.
Exactly.
So this show is superb, like down to the, this is the only one that was shot on location as well. They didn't use the pixel screen that the other 3 shows use, Boba Fett, Kenobi, and Mandalorian. They actually shot on location, put a lot of the original cinematography out there. The scenes were intense, and I don't know if maybe it's because, and whoever can't get over that there was no lightsabers. I think it's because there was no lightsabers, and even though you knew that Andor was going to survive throughout the whole season, whatever, you still felt that sense of like, oh, he's in danger. Yeah. Oh, anything can happen. They fried whole prisoners in one episode. At one point, Andor just popped 2 guys in a quickness. You know what I mean? Like, there was a lot of tension, a lot of buildup. And, maybe you could say maybe 2 episodes of buildup and 1 payoff is too long to wait. And maybe that's why Disney put out the first 3 episodes to show you guys the formula in the beginning. They showed you 1, 2, and 3, 2 payoff, 2 buildups and 1 payoff. If that's too long for you guys to wait, it wasn't for me. I liked the buildup because it really made you feel like, damn, what the hell is about to happen? Yeah. What's gonna happen? What's gonna be the payoff for this one? And you being on the edge of your seat for 2 weeks straight and get that finally that build up at the end of the month, like, holy shit, god damn it, bro.
This show, man, like, it's just so good. Like, even if you think that like it was slow in the beginning, because I kind of did. I was like, oh well, I put it off because I wasn't, I thought it was kind of slow, but it does pay off. It's now that I've seen all of it in its entirety, like 12 episodes are all out already. If you want to go watch them, you really get that sense of, I gotta keep going because I gotta know what's happening next. They're setting shit up, and it pays off so well by the end of the last episode. It's so good.
Yeah, Andor, like I said, no complaints there. Every episode was used in a great way. Beautiful scenery, great payoffs, sad moments in the episodes. The character growth and the arcs that happen. There was no relapses in direction that they were trying to go. They knew exactly what they were driving for, and they were able to seal the deal, close it up, and get it ready for season 2 in a great way. Yeah, I'm excited. I know production's underway for that show.
Yep.
But if any show deserves a second season on this list, it's that show for sure, 100%. Whoever's sleeping on it, time to wake up.
Yeah, you gotta go. You gotta see it, bro. All 12 episodes on Disney Plus. It's so good. I promise. This is what Star Wars needs to be. Yeah. Like if all the shows were as solid as this one, it would make it a lot more difficult to fight for slot. But no, it's clearly Andor,
And this is what I'd be saying. Like, a lot of creator-driven content needs to come out. Like, write a story, okay? Write a compelling story. If that story you can fit lightsabers in it and it will still be a compelling story, so be it. Why can't Jedi get this kind of development?
Exactly.
we get this development from characters that we know are gonna pass away on a planet
Pretty
sadly
much.
by themselves. You know, so it's a Disney Plus thing. Hopefully they get it under control and
Yeah.
we get a little bit more better produced shows like that.
Yeah.
But Andor has to take the cake, right?
Yep.
Number one live action Disney Plus show. You heard it here first from the Film Bros podcast.
Yeah.
That's Andor.
Yep.
Okay.
Andor.
Everything else can be up for debate. I know that we had a little debate on where the Mandalorian and Obi-Wan Kenobi should fit. So we want to hear from y'all. What do you? Did you guys see all 4 live action shows? Is there any that you thought we were wrong about? Do you guys want to replace Andor with something else? Are you guys smoking crack? Let us know in the comments. Where can they let us know?
At FilmBros podcast, which is in the gonna be the comments of this video. And if you wanna not follow us on YouTube, I don't know why you wouldn't. We're on Twitter and TikTok at FilmBros podcast. You can let us know there. And if you want to watch or listen to our other episodes without seeing our faces, Spotify and Apple Podcasts at FilmBros podcast.
Yeah. And it's not necessarily because they don't want to see our faces. Maybe they don't have time to watch a YouTube video. Come look at our faces, bro.
Either way, follow us, like, subscribe, comment, things like that.
Yes, sir. And with that, we'll see you guys on the next one. Don't forget to like, subscribe, follow, share. We'll see you guys later.